Cavell didn't think about the distance between himself and the sky anymore. It had been measured for him. 46 kilometers up, the first of the corporate observation rings floated in slow, silent orbit. Another 30 kilometers beyond that sat the Colonial Transfer Station, too far for a naked eye, but close enough for their cameras to read the surface as if the whole planet were a living screen. His job, officially, was Senior Agro-Navigator, Western Impact Belt. Unofficially, he shepherded a flock of drones whose task was stranger than farming and dirtier than advertising. The machines, matte gray as the dust they hovered over, drifted into craters left by the asteroid barrage of 48. There, they planted rows of engineered mycelium and quick-sprouting creeper vines that glowed a cold cobalt at twilight. Over weeks, the separate craters merged into letters, and the letters formed slogans. Unity through Purpose declared a basin outside what used to be Tucson. The Mother Alliance provides beamed another message from a ring of overlapping impacts near Old Palm Springs. At night, the slogans bled radiant blue onto cloud undersides, and anyone on a passing sky bus or on the orbital rings could see them, crisp as neon on black velvet. It was propaganda you could harvest, propaganda that rooted in the scarred flesh of the earth and made the wounds beautiful enough that people would forget they were wounds. Cavell had once believed there was nobility in that. He was less certain now. The shift whistle in his ear pinged as the first drone of the evening deviated from its programmed arc. He zoomed in on the soft map overlay, watching the unit, AV-19, call sign Viridian, descend too sharply into the lip of Dagda crater. The vineyard of lichen down there formed the top stroke of a G that would, if everything stayed on schedule, become the word glorious by the end of the month. Cavell keyed a manual override. Viridian, adjust pitch 3 degrees aft, altitude +2. No reply. The drone continued its dive, stabilizers fluttering. Viridian, respond. Silence, save for the soft, constant static of the desert night. Cavell tightened his scarf against the rising cold. Wind hissed over the crater rim and rattled the field rig's solar vanes behind him. He leaned closer to the holomap. The drone's signature flickered, then went dark. He cursed and toggled regional proximity pings. 10 more drones reported misalignments, minor at first. 2 meters left, 5 meters elevation drop, then worse. Within 5 minutes, a full quarter of his fleet had gone off-grid. Not sabotage, he tried to reassure himself. Maybe a solar flare, maybe code rot. He flagged Central Dispatch, but the satellite link stuttered, the bars pulsing red before the connection could open. Then, as if to mock him, the sky lit with a corona of teal where the first letters of unity flared alive. The drones, still obeying their code, puffed spore mist into the trenches, fertilizing fresh growth that shimmered like submerged stars. For a heartbeat, the spectacle was almost comforting. Proof that something in the system still held. But the rogue drones were alive too, and they had work of their own. One streaked over the crater rim beneath Cavell's perch, rotors whining. In its underbelly claws, it carried seed cartridges sealed with a spray-tan logo he didn't recognize. The drone dropped, bounced off loose shale and kept going, deeper into Dagda's throat. Its floodlights blinked from white to magenta, and in their wake, purple spores curled into the air. Cavell, situation? A voice crackled over short-range comms. It was Supervisor Haig, calling from the logistics tram 10 kilometers east. Drone drift, possible compact. I'm losing units. How many? Nearly 30, maybe more. Dispatch feeds jammed. Contain locally, Haig ordered. If the craters read garbage when the station cameras pass, the board will be on us. I can't even ping them, sir, Then ground them. EMP tether or direct shot. I don't care. Just stop the bleed. Cavil hesitated. Grounding drones meant frying the seeds inside them too, killing a week of work and millions of credits worth of engineered fungus. The board would shout either way. Still, protocol was protocol. He pulled the EMP rifle from the rack and jogged toward his rover. The desert night draped everything in violet shadows, punctuated by the pulsing of bioluminescent rows already planted. Half an O here, the start of an R there. He throttled up the rover, wheels crunching over Tifra. Ahead, Viridian skittered across the lower plain, lights still magenta. He revved, steadied the rifle on its dash mount, and took aim. A warning shot first, the protocol insisted. A cone of blue static rippled through the air. The drone zipped sideways and climbed, evasive algorithms kicking in. So definitely not mere malfunction. Something, or someone, was flying it. Cavell pulled second trigger. The main blast this time. Electric haze swallowed Viridian, and for a breath the machine froze mid-air, rotors silent. Then it powered out of the haze, unharmed, and accelerated north, shielded. Someone had wrapped his drone in an EMP screen. A dot matrix laugh spilled over his helmet comm. Faint, genderless, glitchy. Nice try, rancher. The voice had no authorization tags. Identify, Cavell demanded, heart knocking. We are the brushstrokes, the voice sang. You are the canvas. Viridian and two siblings banked together, angling toward the crater wall. Their bellies peeled open, spilling seeds in broad, arcing sprays. The magenta trail traced something Cavell could not yet read, but the strokes were bold and confident. They weren't repairing letters. They were overwriting them. Cavell clenched the rifle. If he couldn't down them, maybe he could catch them. He blew the rover's horn in frustration and pivoted back toward the command trailer. Haig's face met him at the ramp, moonlight painting harsh lines under her eyes. Board's connected now. They want proof of containment. She noticed the unslung rifle. Report? EMP ineffective. Hackers applied shielding. Hackers? Self-styled brushstrokes, they said. Haig's mouth twisted. Great. Art terrorists. They torched the algae murals in Turkmen Bay last spring, remember? Thought they were arrested. Apparently not all of them. She stepped inside and motioned him after. We escalate. Inside, the trailer smelled of ozone and recycled air. Two junior techs hovered over the comm console, trying to keep the satellite uplink alive. On the central projection, the crater's layout flickered, unity morphing into something jagged, half purple, half cobalt. The lines were wrong, unnatural. Angles where curves should be, curves where angles belonged. No slogan Cavell knew. Military support ETA 90, Haig said, reading from a side screen. We hold till then. Hold with what? Cavell snapped. They outfly us, outcode us, and our EMP's useless. Haig ignored the outburst. She pointed at the projection. Look, they're writing. She leaned closer, brow creasing. Untuk kami mati? That's Old Javanese, one tech guessed. Suppressed Union slogan, Haig corrected. We die for ours, banned phrase since the Accords. She tapped fast commands, switching to a high-resolution view. More letters formed below, lines that curled back around themselves, forming shapes like blooming vines. The phrase extended, coiling across 3 minor craters, brightening as if someone had turned up a dimmer switch. The bioluminescent genome responded differently to the pirate spores, Cavell realized. The new organisms glowed quicker, hotter. He swallowed. They're accelerating the grow curve to beat sunrise. Haig set her jaw. If that message is readable from orbit on the O200 pass, We'll be indicted for sedition. Options? Cavill's eyes fell on the drone cradle at the rear of the trailer. 2 backup units. Factory new, unarmed, except for seed pods preloaded with default cobalt creepers. No custom paint, no shielding either. Ordinary drones, but clean of the virus. I can try a counterstroke, he said. Haig raised an eyebrow. I know the letter grid, the timing, the colonial camera angles. If I can overwrite their slogan before it stabilizes, draw decoy lines across it, the result will look like noise. The board can spin noise easier than descent. And if your drones get hijacked, I'll slave them to direct manual. Line of sight control only. Short leash, harder to hack. He waited, pulse thudding. Haig exhaled. Fine. But if this backfires, you own it. I always do, he muttered, and jogged to the cradle. The backup drones, which he mentally dubbed Hope and Mercy, whirred awake under his gloved hands. He dumped their seed cartridges and replaced them with defoliant pellets. Destruction as creation. An irony the brushstrokes would appreciate, he thought grimly. If he cut through their letters, maybe he wouldn't need to paint anything at all. He rolled the cradle platform onto the loading ramp. Night air slapped him, cold and electric, carrying the distant hum of many rotors. The hacked swarm was busy somewhere over the ridge, their halo of magenta a silent storm. Field link live, Haig reported over comm. 20% bandwidth available. It'll do. He launched Hope first, then Mercy, their blades slicing the dark. His visor HUD-painted connection lines, like invisible tethers to his forearms. Every tilt of his wrists translated into yaw and pitch. He felt like a puppeteer, guiding birds on invisible strings. Downslope he flew, chasing the purple glow. When he cleared the ridge, the full enormity snapped into view. 15 craters, stitched by magenta lines, spelling not merely a sentence, but a manifesto. The message read, "We die for ours, so the earth shall live free." The letters were 2 kilometers tall, pulse beating against black sand. No orbital lens could miss it. Cavill's heart hammered. He dove Hope toward the first word. It spritzed defoliant in a diagonal slash across the W's bottom. The magenta there fizzled, turning sickly green. Almost instantly, 3 rogue drones pivoted to intercept. One sprayed counteragent that reignited the glow, stronger. Another lanced Cavill's craft with a strobe meant to overload sensors. Hope juddered and lost altitude. Manual control, he reminded himself. Feel the wind. He banked, regained lift, climbed behind a broken ridge wall, then popped up to mark another slash, this time across the O of hours. More interceptors came. His comm buzzed with that glitchy laughter again. Brushstroke in blue, meet brushstroke in red, the stranger crooned. Shall we blend? You're trespassing on corporate property, Cavill shouted. Disengage or be destroyed. Property is theft, the voice sang. Land and letter alike. Hope took a hit. Acid spores pitting its left rotor housing. The craft spiraled. Cavell yanked Mercy around to scoop between Hope and its pursuers, pulsing defoliant in a wide fan to blind them. One pirate drone clipped Mercy's tail fin and slammed into crater scree, exploding in violet sparks. Cavill, status? Haig demanded. Losing assets, he gasped, wrestling to keep Mercy aloft. They'll outnumber me before I cut half the phrase. Another idea sparked. Bold, stupid, maybe workable. He opened a direct channel to the ghost voice. You want the sky to read you? Help me do it right. Silence. Rotors whined, wind howled. Then, you would aid us? Let me land these drones. I have surface drivers loaded with cobalt gene stock. Use my grid access. You'll get symmetrical kerning and full spectrum visibility. Your message will be perfect. Haig broke in. Cavil, what the hell are you saying? He muted her. Your drones are messy, he told the ghost. Camera pass is in 45 minutes. At current growth rate, you'll blur. The board will spin it as static. Let me shape for you. You'll be immortal. A longer silence. He felt the invisible calculus in the sky. Trust, measured against desperation. We're listening, the voice said. Call off your attack units. I'll deploy my last reservoir, pure magenta feedstock, through the grid. I need sole control for 6 minutes. Agreed. The word came crisp, followed by a sudden hush among the rogue swarms. They hovered in holding patterns. Hope and mercy drifted, unmolested. Inside the trailer, Haig screamed into his ear. He unmuted her. Supervisor, I have negotiation in play. You have treason in play, or strategy. Flush comm logs later if you need deniability. Cavil. He cut her channel again. Then he opened the command mesh, authorizing an all-call with root access. The code he had built into the irrigation timers years ago, never thinking it would matter. Now it gave him right permission for the entire local network, including any drone that still respected factory security layers. Most did. The brushstroke hacks only spoofing surface protocols. He typed, Global routes, override payload, seed bank, C4 master solenoid, lock, open sprinklers across every crater hissed awake, expelling not magenta spores, but a microparticulate enzyme, Project Hush. Designed for emergency resets, it neutralized all bioluminescence in under 60 seconds. Cavell closed his eyes. In the darkness beneath his eyelids, he imagined the letters dimming, outlines collapsing, slogans dissolving into dust. The hush spread. He watched the glow fade, first at the edges, then at the hearts of the letters. Unity propaganda, rebel manifesto, both meek before the yawning black. A scream of engines broke the moment. The brushstroke swarm diving to reseed, to reclaim the light, but the enzyme would render any new spores inert for hours, time they no longer had. The ghost voice cracked in his ear. You lied. I leveled the field, Cavil said softly. I gave everyone a blank page. Static, then a harsh laugh, almost admiring. An artist, after all. Searchlights appeared on the horizon. The military escort, early. Helicarriers in V formation. Cavil powered down hope and mercy, letting them settle on the desert floor. He raised both gloved hands, as if the distant pilots could see. Haig reopened comm, breathless. Explain. I removed the message, he said. All of them. The board's optics are safe. But why wipe theirs too? She pressed. We could have restored ours later. These craters are scars, he replied. They shouldn't speak lies for anyone. Let them rest. Haig didn't respond. Above, the rogue drones scattered like startled fish, aware that if they lingered, they'd be tagged and traced. Some fled north, others south, their magenta reservoirs already half spent. Soon, night swallowed them. The helicarriers descended, rotor thunder flattening scrub. Soldiers in white hazard suits fanned out, brandishing coil guns. Their floodlights surveyed blank craters, chemical steam rising in the chill. Not a slogan remained, only the ancient silence of stone. A lieutenant marched up to Cavell. Identify? He complied, eyes never leaving the sky where, minutes later, the orbital ring drifted into view. Its tracking lasers scanned the surface, found nothing to annotate, and moved on. Haig handled the briefing. She spoke of unknown militants, of averted ecological sabotage, of decisive intervention by her lead agro-navigator. The lieutenant nodded, perhaps believing, perhaps not caring. When the last carrier lifted away, desert calm returned. Early dawn teased the horizon, Cavell walked to Dagda's rim. Below, the enzyme mist still swirled, faintly luminescent in its own ruined way. He kneeled, scooped a handful of dust, let it sift through gloved fingers. Not dead soil. Sleeping, he thought. A soft chime, an untagged message on his private channel. You removed our voice, it said, but you also erased theirs. Consider this an invitation. Attached coordinates pointed to a canyon 200 kilometers east, outside corporate jurisdiction. The timestamp. Next new moon. Cavell smiled. Small, tired, genuine. Back at the trailer, Haig decommissioned the remaining drones. Corporate will send replacements, she muttered. Maybe, Cavell said. Maybe they'll reassign the project. You think tonight changed their minds? No, he admitted, but it changed the canvas. Haig studied him. You planning to put anything on that canvas? He met her gaze. Only if the Earth asks. She almost smiled, then shook her head. Take your rest, Cavell. Big repairs tomorrow. He watched her go. Alone, he gazed once more at the emptiness he'd made, the honest dark. Far above, the observation ring blinked sunlight, indifferent, unaware that its living billboard had gone dark. All across the western impact belt, craters settled into silence. No longer tools, no longer monuments, just scars cooling under dawn. And somewhere out there, a rogue flock carried stolen seeds and impossible dreams, looking for a new place to land. Cavell adjusted his scarf, breathed in the cold, and began the long walk down into Dagda. With each step, the sky widened, and the distance between himself and it felt, finally, immeasurable again.